I would like to welcome Mr. Promod Kaushik, President and Managing Director, Hexagon India, and Lieutenant General Girish Kumar, VSM, former Surveyor General of India, to begin their conversation on the importance of geospatial infrastructure for a water-secure India. Mr. Kaushik, may I request you to turn your camera on? Welcome, Mr. Kaushik and General Girish. So I hand over the session to you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Vinay.
Big welcome to Lieutenant General Girish Kumar, VSM. And I'll just start with the importance and relevance of geospatial data for all sectors of the economy is undisputed. However, just the availability of data is not enough for our country to achieve the dream of becoming a $5 trillion economy by 2025. The accuracy matters a lot. And this is actually a very big deciding factor for various sectors to assume and rather start using this data. And the various sectors like utilities, smart cities, banking, finance, and water resources, agriculture, land records, all would need this accuracy to ensure that this data is being used. And even the government of India recently in its guideline has actually acknowledged the availability of comprehensive and highly accurate data. Rather granular and constantly updated geospatial data will significantly enhance and benefit the diverse sectors of Indian economy and will boost the innovation, as well as it's really going to bring a lot of impetus to the innovation in the country. And with this, actually, with background that we require this data, government guidelines are all now accepting it. I really now give a very warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Please join me in welcoming the Lieutenant General Girish Kumar, VSM, who will be conversing with me today and sharing his rich experience and insights into some of the pertinent questions which are in our viewers' mind who are on the show. And General Girish Kumar, I'll start with the first question. What measures have been taken by Survey of India to strengthen the geospatial infrastructure of our country in the past few years?
Thank you very much, Pramodji. I would like to convey my thanks to AGI also for giving me this opportunity to come and share my experience with all of you. So the first question, what you are asking me regarding what measures have been taken by Survey of India to create infrastructure, geospatial infrastructure for secure water. Actually, water, we all know that in various forms we use water, like drinking water, water for irrigation, and then rainwater, water coming through floods, seawater, backwater. So water in many forms we have been witnessing, and it has got its own importance in every sphere of the life, even the springs, because in hilly areas, then there's no drinking water which you can pump. So the springs are the main source of drinking water in all Himalayas and high altitude areas. So what Survey of India has done in the past, in a few 2-3 years, that for any water is slope dependent, height dependent. So to create positioning infrastructure in the country, Survey of India had taken up few initiatives. So positioning means we talk about horizontal and vertical accuracy, and for water, vertical accuracy and vertical dam is very, very important. Of course, X and Y is equally important, but for water specifically, vertical is very, very important. So when we started to look to create infrastructure, we have never prepared the geoid model in the country. We have been dependent only on the conventional way of taking heights through split leveling mechanism, which is very, very laborious, time consuming. And for every project you want to initiate, then you start this process again, which takes time, resources, and delays all the projects. So what we thought that why not we start creating geoid model for the country, which will use the latest technologies, number one, and it can be heights can be obtained for any project, for any place in a matter of few seconds. So what we did that we redefined the Indian vertical datum in 2018. Redefining means the earlier benchmarks were dependent on Bombay port. Now we had taken 4 ports on either side of the country, and based on that we redefined the Indian vertical datum. That was the first step and a technical publication was released in 2018 in May 2018. Now, what does it mean? That it means that we redefine based on the latest mathematical modeling and the best practices available in the world. Earlier, it used to be mean sea level. Now we have the Indian vertical datum, which will be constant throughout all the entire coast. Because if you see that east coast and west coast itself, there's a variation in height to the tune of 80 centimeters or so. So it means the mean sea level may not work. It doesn't work in the long run. So that was the first step we did to redefine the Indian vertical datum. Now, so it means that once the redefinition has been done, so these heights have to be taken across the country, right from the sea to the Himalayas, which is the motto of Survey of India, Asi to Himachalam. So we started densifying our high precision network, which is very, very highly accurate and highly precise also in terms of height. So high precision leveling, again, industry played a very big role in this, getting good level from both the companies, major companies, we got it. So high precision leveling instruments were very useful, and we started, and in fact, we are supposed to, Survey of India has to do 2 lakh linear kilometer of the high precision leveling. Out of that, I think 70 or 80,000 has already been completed, and it is continuing. So that was, again, we started in 2018 only to create this kind of infrastructure. Now, to create geoid model, again, we need the precise gravity information. So we didn't have the absolute gravimeter. The reference was very old, which was brought from some other company from abroad to India. But we wanted to have our own gravity network established in country. So we procured the absolute gravimeter, relative gravimeters, and we started observing the gravity along a mesh of 10 kilometer by 10 kilometer network, very precise gravity information. Now, clubbed with gravity observation and the high precision leveling, we developed geoid model. That was the first time that we created a geoid model in India for part of Uttarakhand and UP under the National Hydrology Project. We are really grateful to the Jal Shakti and World Bank for giving us that opportunity. That, of course, I'll keep mentioning whosoever's acknowledgements are to be given in due course of time. So again, the first experience we had, our team learnt a lot, and it was, we didn't take any foreign assistance in developing the geoid model. That was the best part. In the past, some experts have been coming, but when we developed this, our team, they did their own homework, they did their own research, and with that the geoid model was developed and it was tested, and we were getting better than 10 centimeter accuracy, which is very good as far as the geoid model is concerned. So this geoid model now, how it implies as far as the water is concerned, tomorrow if you want to create a new canal or new watershed you want to develop, so your GPS height can be converted immediately into vertical height, which is based on vertical datum. Again, in the loose terms, I'll say mean sea level, because this is the basic thing which every citizen understands, height above mean sea level. It is written at the airport, at the railway station, at every place it is written in terms of mean sea level. But now we talk in terms of the Indian vertical datum. But in loose terms, still we can continue to use the term mean sea level. So now the GPS height can be converted easily into vertical height using geoid model. So we have Survey of India has already completed for UP, Uttarakhand, West Bengal, Jharkhand, Bihar, and Haryana. The observations have been completed. I'm sure Survey of India will shortly release for Haryana also, and for other states is continuing, like Kerala, Maharashtra, Karnataka. The leveling network is continuing, and it will continue for another 2 to 3 years. I'm sure in next 2 years' time, they'll be able to create a geoid model for the country. So this is a very good positioning infrastructure as far as the vertical is concerned. Similarly, for positioning that horizontal, earlier we were dependent on the GPS. We are depending now also, but we didn't have a CRS network in the country, which we had been planning for many years, but somehow it didn't materialize because of some reason or other. So the conventional GPS was used in conventional method, and we have been successfully able to implement CRS in UP, Maharashtra. They have been completed. Karnataka is in advanced stage, and now we have another Madhya Pradesh, Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan. So all these states, the CRS network is coming. So it means the use of GPS has been eased out. that you use a rover and within 1 minute or 2 minutes you get your position XY, and the jet which you're getting based on the ellipsoidal height, now you will be getting through automatic height using geoid model. So the positioning system infrastructure has been created to a great extent as far as the water security is concerned, and it can be used in any field. Similarly, I said the springs, they're very important source of water in Himalayas, and they consume more than 20% of the area. So now, how do we do that? Springs, there are millions of springs in the country, but most of them either they have been damaged, dry out, and they are not reachable. So we use LiDAR to identify, and we did a pilot project based on the directions given by the Ministry of Jal Shakti and Niti Aayog. Then this project was very successful. Again, we used LiDAR as a technology to detect the springs, and then the government took initiatives to regenerate them. So this project has to take off, but pilot has been completed using technology. So water is very, very important source for our life, and we have Reserve of India has been able to create very good infrastructure to sustain this kind of activities and take them forward.
Sure. Thank you, General Girish. My second question to you would be on what are your thoughts on actually industry and government collaboration? How can this collaboration improve in developing, managing, and maintaining a resilient geospatial infrastructure? Just your thoughts very briefly on this.
India, if you look at the size of the India, it is very, very big. 3.2 million square kilometers. Now, due to some reason or other, the creation of the infrastructure has been delayed. And demand is more. Now, since the government of India has already opened up the geospatial sector, so it means more and more users will come, demand will increase. Now, if we leave it only at the sum of the designated government agencies, it may take few years to complete to provide geospatial solution for various applications or infrastructure project. So this is where now the industry's role is very, very significant, and both government organizations and the industry have to play a very important role, lead role to be played by industry to take it forward, because government takes its own time. By the time we take decision in government, the technology has also changed. So I think in that perspective, industry's role will be very, very significant in years to come. And they have to join hand, not only like CRS, to maintain them. Until as we join hand with the industry to maintain them and provide, only the maintenance is not the issue, but how to provide service also. Because the 24/7 service has to be provided. So who will provide that service? So to maintain that service, again, the industry's help is required. Similarly, to provide service for the geoid modeling, again, industry's help will be required. So I'm sure that in time to come, both government agencies and industry, they need to join hand and take the process forward for better delivery of goods and services.
Perfect. Very well said, General Girish. The other piece, maybe one question: what are your dream for future of Survey of India? Maybe the organization you have been at the helm of affair for so long. So just want to understand, and how does Survey of India can create a very positive impact on national economy in general? I know you have already elaborated how in the springs and hills, you have been able to, with the geoid model, able to do so much of regeneration for our water resource ministry. But in general, what's your dream for Survey of India? How it can still provide leadership in many areas as with the new guidelines which have come from the government?
Thank you so much. A very pertinent question, but generally, nowadays I like to avoid questions on Survey of India, because since I have already relinquished the charge, so it is not fair on me to comment on what Survey of India will be doing. And as an expert in geospatial sector, I would like to say that any national mapping agency, not only Survey of India, any national mapping agency has to play a very, very important role. Even though the process has been, geospatial policy has been liberalized, creation of data, use of the data, dissemination of the data, everything has been liberalized. But the national mapping agencies have to play a very important role in terms of authentic data and current and updated data. I'll explain why. See, tomorrow, if you want to, like, boundaries in any case is mentioned, that boundaries has to be given by Survey of India. So Survey of India will not only just go and pick up the boundary. To create a political map, they need a high resolution data. So it means their data should be always updated, current, and it should be easily accessible to the country. To achieve that, I am sure Survey of India will take all possible steps to provide this kind of service. So with the liberalization also, the Survey of India, any national mapping agency's role cannot be underestimated. They will always continue to provide authentic data and real-time data, because there are so many disputes within the government, state to state, with international data, international boundaries. So their role cannot be underestimated. So they'll continue to play a very leading role and continue to develop a very high resolution and good data for the country with the help of. Now, of course, since a lot of liberalization has been done, the permissions are not required. Earlier, we were taking many months to get permission from Ministry of Defense or from any other regulatory body. So I think those have been liberalized. Now decision making will be very faster for any national mapping agency, and they should, I think, I'm sure they'll continue to provide the leadership role in geospatial sectors.
Perfect. And you have any comment on the rest of it? One is Jal Jeevan mission we are talking about. We are talking about our Jal Shakti and the other state utilities. How can this be used? Any thoughts on that? Some of the state utilities.
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
See, I have seen in the past also. Now the present government has given great emphasis on water. There are so many things like the new slogan which has been, or not the slogan, but the mission which has been released by government, Har Ghar Jal and Nal. To achieve this, again, you need a lot of information, precise information and infrastructure. So the state governments also is a very big, I think there are two schemes. One is for the urban area and one is for the rural areas. For villages, like Ministry of Jal Shakti has done it. And similarly, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs have already planned for providing water to each house in the tier 3 cities also, which are about 4,000 in numbers. Now, to achieve this, without proper geospatial infrastructure, without proper geospatial data on water, availability of the water, to take the water from point A to point B, to provide, to ensure that each and every house is given and no house is left out. How do you do that? The state agencies, the central agencies, the National Mapping Agency, and the industry have to work together to achieve this mission of drinking water. We have so many places where drinking water is not available. Hand pumps are there. People go and line up. I know that my childhood, we used to go and pull up water from the wells. So I think now the time has come. The government has already taken good initiative and decision to provide this kind of infrastructure to each and every household in the country, whether they are in urban areas or in villages. I think geospatial sector, National Mapping Agency, and the industry have to play a very important role in supporting the state units.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more, General Girish. And also, my thoughts on this. The industry can provide a lot of technology which can go along with this, which is embedded as part of geospatial information, like simulations, even the safety of the dams, simulation that if there is some incidents which happens, how the water, which areas will get submerged. So you can find out as the height of reservoir is improving or increasing because of floods or rains, that which areas will get submerged as we do a simulation. And if the water comes with this force, you can simulate that, what the loss of property and life can happen, as well as the decision support systems can really guide the planners in terms of using the technology, bringing AI into the use, and giving, of course, not only the mapping piece, you can map, where the sensors are put on the dams. You can find out even if it's a very small one thou of movement which happens, that how this can impact the safety of the dam. If there is a one small pebble which is falling down, it doesn't come of its own. There is some movement happening. So the radar technologies can be used by the industry along with the government agencies to really, I would say, avert some of the disasters which can happen. As well as, of course, then, lakes, the watershed, the surface water, what we're talking, all this can be rejuvenated by using this geospatial information, by working and cooperating with the government, and the agencies.
Very true. In fact, I didn't talk about this how it has to be used. Like I did the project of Delhi, and in 2008, 9, and 12. So the drainage system of the Delhi was not planned, and there was a draft drainage master drainage plan, but that was never brought into implementation. Now, with that effect that a lot of colonies have come up which have blocked all the drains. So now this, unless we use geospatial technology to prepare a good drainage plan of the city. So the backwater, which what we see in Mumbai, the backwater creates a lot of havoc. In Uttarakhand recently we have seen. So what you are talking, what you are mentioning is very, very relevant. That use of the technology, not only generation of the data, but to analyze also and to give a lot of disasters can be averted, and loss of life can be averted, and they can be saved. Not only life, but even the cost and human resource also, and other resources can be saved, and the cost can be, losses can be minimized.
Absolutely. And just an example, I think we're running out of time, we'll just close it. But one example, like the geospatial data can trigger actually a stimuli to the command control centers. It gives inputs to a command control center, and then you can do the multi-agency coordination by using various technologies, where the hospitals, the police, as well as, I would say, ambulance, NDRF, absolutely. All can be joined together through the on-call technologies and through the technologies where multi-agency coordination can happen. And then the benefit of the geospatial, what we are trying to develop, and then we take a final action for the safety of the property, for the lives, and the better, I would say, is civil society services. It's going to really help us by using this information and using it.
Very true, very true, very true.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant General Girish Kumar. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking General Girish Kumar for being very insightful and also sharing his insights and thoughts with us. Thank you so much again.
Thank you so much, Promodji, and thank you so much, AGI, for giving me this again opportunity to share my experience. Thank you so much.